Anjum. My name is Anjum Satha. I'm working with University more than 10 years now, and I'm also teaching at University Bradford, and I do some work for Leeds, and I'll try my best, meet your expectation. My background is ACCA. I deliver various courses, including, IFA. So please, during delivery, if you have any question, always feel free. Ask, my email address, anjum@ukversity.co.uk, and all resources will be available on Moodle, and we'll go through extra resources by using Kaplan, ACCA, Open Tuition, and various other resources, which we embed during our lessons. So please, if you have any question, carry on asking. Yes, can we, if you don't mind too quickly, we can introduce each other. So,
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'm from York, and I've been working in an accountancy practice for 32 years, but I've always been qualified by experience, and now I need the qualification.
brilliant. Many thanks. Thanks for sharing. Great. Please, share your experience during delivery, which we'll go through the law and the contract, and it's important in the section. So today our discussion will be, yes, Faisal, where are you from? Please, can you hear us? Okay, maybe slightly away. Okay. So before starting, we'll go through our unit specification, then we'll go through the content, what we're supposed to cover during our lesson. Okay, so welcome. Thanks for joining. Let's start then. Okay, so law for accounting. Of course, unit is very important, and especially it's mapped with F4 of ACCA unit specifications as well. So that's quite good to look around the contract and element of contract and why contract is important. Okay, thanks for sharing, Faisal. You're from London. Hope so weather will be nice there as well. Okay, let's So today lesson will go through understand the element of law affecting the commercial practices and commercial practice really, and we'll discuss the elements and the nature of the contractual agreement. What is meant by contract? Contract is normally the offer and acceptance. And nowadays, the contract, even not a written, if it's a verbal contract, offer and acceptance become a contract under law. We'll discuss about different principle of agency and agent and agency theory, which we'll discuss, and the law for tort and remedies, which will be available. So like penalties, damages. So we'll discuss about the criminal and the civil law. So the contract law is come under civil law, and where the damages can be. So as in accounting practice, of course, we have to follow some legislation, and we have a contract with our clients, so offer acceptance is play the key role. Assess the validity given in a contract, so we can look around the contract can be void. There are a number of case laws available, but we'll go through according to the unit specification. But other than that, of course, the contract law is a separate subject area as well, because we're looking related to accounts and some elements, but other than that, it's absolutely fine. If you want to embed, more examples, you can. Okay. Second lesson, we'll go through understand the company and the insolvency laws, which we'll go through. The third lesson, we'll go through understand the impact of criminal laws on the business and professional organization. And lesson 4, we'll discuss about the understand the area of law affecting business and professional operation. So today lesson indicative content. Each lesson will focus on the key points really. Contract law, law of agency, and some elements of tort law, what is about negligence and various sort of liabilities. So that will be in our discussion. So that's why liability insurance is very important, working as and that protect, because otherwise the damages can be very high. Okay, so then second lesson will go through LO2, LO3, lesson 3, LO4. In the lesson 5, it will be assignment discussion, which will go through how we can address all the learning outcome and meet the criteria within our assignment. So that will be the key which we'll go through in the following lessons. Okay, we'll start. Anybody, any question, please? If you have, always carry on asking it. So you can stop me. Normally, you all working in accounts, so please, you always deal with the client and contract, so that's most of the things you already know. Is a matter of, because this is not it's any exam, it's an assignment based course. So assessment criteria will be assignment ready, is a matter of. So I'll share with you the chapter of books and that's cover the contract law itself, the elements of contract. Okay. Always good to be any activity we start, we can think about what I know about contract, what is meant by contract law, elements, and reflecting why is important to know. So current knowledge always good to be you reflect, or maybe we can reflect at the end, anything learn about new or something I enhance, my current understanding, or maybe you can share your own experience. We can all learn from each other. So we can analyze the elements and the nature of the contractual agreement. The contract law is the component of the law of obligation. Okay, so when we say ethics, ethics are the moral principle. So if you're a member of ACCA, ATHE, IFA, CMA, various other awarding bodies, so we have to follow some ethics or the rule. Those are come under the civil law. So which is itself the element of the civil law. So contract are the moral obligation. We can civil matters can be if we have an agree on certain point. Contract is an agreement entered into voluntarily by one or more person or legal entities. Entities in organization, like the company. Intention the party is really creating legal. So if we have there is uncertainty, like no, we know this is war in certain areas and we can't deliver the good, but we're making the contract. So it's not a contract. There is a certainty need to be, and there should be offer and acceptance. And the person should be a sound mind to whom we are going to enter into the contract or the organization. So we need to be think about enforced by law. So parties which protection other parties who may fail to perform their contractual duties. So always we have to look around obligation. So we'll look around the various elements within the contract, so like goods deliver on time, faulty goods, the services. We have a contract, we'll submit the return. We never do the contract, but I will save your tax bill and you pay me half fees of it, because that's not a contract, that can't be do by law. It can't be, because this is an illegal activity, because anything are illegal business that's not really enforced by law itself. So those we need to be look around as well. Sometimes some elements can. So when we look the elements of contract, there should be offer, there should be acceptance. When we do, it's become agreement. There should be a consideration, intention to create a legal relationship, terms, types. So we can look around these, the common law, statutory elements, which is by law, you have to follow those, we can look around the breaches in terms of damages that can need to pay, the individuals or the firms. So law is the public law and the private law, the civil law. So when we say public law, constitutional, administrative, and criminal is come. When we look at the civil laws, under is a contract law, tort, property, trust, family. So these are all the laws in the civil law. So civil code deals, civil matters. Really. So because when we charge to somebody, we need a bundle of evidence, for the criminal proceeding. So we need to be make sure. So like if you not follow the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, or the client, privacy, or the client's, confidentiality. So that can be leads to confidentiality. Ethics can be membership can be revoked, but actually it also can lead to the criminal proceeding, because we have a GDPR 2020-18, which is the Data Protection Act, so we need to be look around. That's also leads to the criminal if we have a clear evidence, bundle of evidence. So contract is the simply definition is the promise to enforce by law. Contracts require the mutual consent of two or more person. Of course, the offer and acceptance. We can look around. These are 7 essential elements in the contract. So an agreement. What is an agreement? Offer and acceptance. There should be intention, legal. There should be certainty. There should be capacity. If somebody is not sound mind or can't understand the thing, uh, and then of course it's don't have it, it's mean it's a disability, not physical disability, can't understand because the language barriers or any other barriers, so it's not entered into the contract. So consideration is very important between so these are all the elements of the contract which we need to keep in mind when we enter into the contract. Contract law aims to provide the effective legal framework contracting party resolve the dispute, which you need to look around, regulate their contractual obligation, like the contract with the client. We will provide you this service, we'll charge you this fee. You have to provide the document, and we prepare the statement on the basis of the document you will provide if anything happens. So any criminal investigation or the properties or the money laundering. So it's nothing because we have an offer and acceptance provide, and preparing the statement in the light of the accounting standards and the rules and the regulation morally. So if we have a contract, we will save a tax, you're not doing it, so I'll take your court. But no, you can't really because we have a clearly contract and the term and condition. It's better to be a written instead of off. Despite this, some opinions the court are willing to from the principle of the contractual freedom. So we can look around those and bargaining power, contractual parties, agreement. Agreement law is the legal definition. Agreement is a meeting the mind and the mutual understanding between two or more persons. That's which we can look around, like the employment contract. So it's a written what are the rules and responsibility of employees and employers. There are the express terms, there are implied terms. So we have to look around. So that's why the law for accounting, we need to be look around if you remember in practice, are you working for someone? So by law is the contract, employment contract or any contract is a crucial, and then we can look around. So unilateral contract is the contract in which the promises to pay after the occurrence of the specified act, example of unilateral contract, insurance fund policy contract, which is usually partially unilateral. So we can look around the, of course, we have a clearly term and condition in the insurance policy. You're telling us we can charge you the premium based on the information you provided, but if the information incorrect, in terms of no claim or various other dependent nature of insurance you want to. Bilateral, also called the creating a trade or the side deal, refer an agreement between the parties of the state and the aim to keep the trade deficit. Various depending on the type of agreement, the scope and the countries involved in the agreement. Bilateral, it can be sometime to finalize. So like sometimes it's exchange goods and the services. It can be bilateral trade sometimes, like where we have agreements, the goods and services. So all the parties assume this is obligation under the contract, where one party assume an obligation under the contract. So we can look around these verses. So let's we can look around involve one party is obliged to honor the agreement. So with both parties are obliged or legal binding on. So form of reimbursement can be which we can look around in terms of time frame. One are both bilateral and activeness. The contract which we can look around these are elements of the contract within. Okay, so when we look, so offer invitation, so sometime invitation to treat. Okay, so really need to lot of this techniques in especially in practice we use. Uh, Still people using check. Anyone still using check to post receiving check from client for the payment. So there is your due date. On the due date we post the check to as a make the payment, and the check of course posted maybe you sending second class uh, stamp, putting and posting at the normal mail, and it takes, and the check will be deposited in the bank, goes in the clearance, and then so that's, if somebody asks you, no, you didn't make me payment, you have to pay the penalty. So because you make the payment, you post the check, the postal date will be the treated as a payment date. Yes, so postal date will be treated. So sometimes it's credit management perspective, these techniques carry on using in commercial world. So that can raise, sometimes concern really. And that's, which we can, but these can be legally, we are really the protection. Okay, so when we look these offer and acceptance, we said earlier, we can look around the terms expressed are by law, we have to follow these written term and consideration, definition, past sufficient, existent duties, and part payments. All these, can be, we can look around these agreements and elements of agreement. So we mentioned 7 elements of the contract earlier. So if we don't follow these, it can be leads to the breaches, and then of course, the contract can be yes, at the when the duty is performed, contract can be finished automatically at the end, but it can be renewed until because certain conditions. So you have to look around always the condition of the contract. So we can look around, develop our year the decisions of the judges to regulate how the business should be done. It's helped to reduce the conflict. Really, the matter of clear the component of contract formation is the contract is formed as goes on the individual create a legal binding agreement. So we can look around the exact rules, contract, the obligation to owe. The construction or obligation can be included in the contract. Uh, we can look around different factors to void or voidable contract can be discharge of obligation remedies. So yes, please, you've been given the video link. It's good to watch, what we can and in the contract in your time, which is all the elements stored we discussed. Okay, so next we have 1.2. Explain. Anybody any question, please, regarding the contract? Okay, if you have questions, you can ask me. 1.2, which we can look around, explain the principle of agency, agent, and agency theory. So agent, who are the principal are the shareholders. Yes, the director can be agent of the shareholders and they work in the best interest of the relationship between them is called agency relationship, fiduciary relationship, and the stakeholders, they have, of course, stake mean interest. So it carry on the number of the term, which is concept is essentially understanding the agency, the agent, the principal. So like details are really implied by the directors and they have to give the true and fair information in the line of the accounting standards, audit standards and all. So you have to look around the agency relationship between principal and their agents, agency cost, monitoring agency behaviors, which we can look around because of the lack of trust, So faith, that is very crucial. Who is accountable that, if we not perform or not enforced by. So that's, maybe it's the fees and all of this can be in audit term. So like in case of Enron and the contract, so if the Enron says no, um, is it, it's a fault of auditors, but it's also fault of because they have a relationship between agent and agency relationship. They have to do audit, of course, true and fairness, and those we need to be look around the. So there are good few examples. We can look around the principal or the shareholders, the agent or the director, the task of managing the company or the directors. So we can look around these, all the quoted companies, they have, of course, they have directors and agents, especially public limited companies. So in the private limited company can be directed as self-shareholders as well. So we can look around the shareholders, delegate and control the relationship, responsibility, work in the best interest of not only nowadays is the shareholders but also stakeholders, because they have stake. You have to work and you have to follow the day-to-day managed company is 1% of the shares most of the UK. The largest company directors own less than. Yes. So because sometimes the share nowadays is awarded as a reward, in the company. So that can be. We can look around separation of the ownership and control. Sometimes we have to think about the conflict, those we have to manage, because that can be conflict of interest, wealth maximization of the shareholders. So agency can help, to explain the action of the various interest group. So we have to examine various, the corporate governance, what is how the company run and go. That's, clearly we have transparency, we have accountability, we have a compliance procedures, we have a delegation. We can look around separation, wealth maximization of the shareholders, but we have to look around the interest of the stakeholders as well. So we have to look around ownership and the control. So their relationship between, sometimes it can create agency problems. Those we have to discuss. So we have a clearly contract as well. So principal agent, shareholders and directors, the separation of the ownership, control the business lead to the potential conflict of interest. Sometimes like Barclay Bank, CEO being paid, £2 million bonus when Barclay Bank not earned the single penny profit back in. So we have to think about, because actually the owner of the shareholders working in the own interest as the director, the contractual agreement as well, the corporate governance, the ethics and moral. We have a lot of, corporate governance. We have governance reports, our code, or the principle, our ethical approaches, are these, which we can, whichever country we have. So we have to look around the corporate reports or corporate governance procedures according. So we have executive and non-executive committees, so to better control the company. Okay, so we can look around 1.3 and the law of tort and remedy. Of course, if the type of civil wrong it is the breach of the legal duty infringement. So we can look around the legal right, which give the right raise of the claim of the damages. The breach of the legal duty. So if somebody is not so under the contract, under the law, you have the duty of care of your clients and their property, their assets. So we have to look around these. If not fulfilled, so we have to, it goes on the damages. So law recognize the duties exist, that differences between the contract and the tort. The contractual relationship does not have to be established for the claim in the tort to be successful. So we have to look around the party never been met before. Example, a claim of the personal injury as a result of the road accident. The parties will often have had no previous relationship at all. However, the contract does exist and the tort has been committed, and the claimant maybe choose remedies more appropriate. So of course we don't have that, but itself is not but an obligation. So we can look around the options. These under the valid contract, the amount of the damages awarded is intended to put the claimant back in the position he would have been had the contract before properly performed. The tort is the amount of the damages awarded is the intended to put the claimant in the position he would have been in had the act never taken place. If like accident not happen, so how much is the cost, of the car and all of this. So that's that's which we can look around. Contractual limitation of 6 years from the breach of the contract. In the tort, limitation period is generally 6 years, but 3 years for the personal injury. So we can look around these different scenarios in tort of negligence, defense, negligence by professionals, and tort by passing off. So we can look around these. Who was responsible? What was the obligation? Is it fault of not the fault of, a lot of maybe client says accountant fault, it's not. So if the client not provide you the leave, can be client fault, not the accountant fault. In a sense, the tort sense is allow the claimant to sue for the most of the action, which we can look around the use of enjoyment of their land, the tort nuisance of separated into the private, or the public. So what is the difference, So the law recognize the landowner, those in the rightful possession of the land, have the right to be reasonable comfort and convenience in its occupation. So public nuisance is under the criminal law. The public nuisance is a class of common law offenses in which the injuries and the loss or the damages can be suffered in the local community as a whole rather than by the individual victim. So we can example can be include manufacturers who had polluted in the keeping diseases, animals are in fires, work in the street, so we can look around. It can be leads to trespass of lands, which is personally directed into another land without the permission remain. So that's why it is the signpost and things, that can be leads to. Okay, so we can look around persons. So these are few elements which we can include in our assignment as some examples. So that's which we'll go through. Battery is the tort law intentionally or voluntary bringing about that is a harmful or offensive contract with the person or there must be actually contract. Assault is the intention act of putting an individual in the reasonable fear. So that can be leads to negligence, of course, the breach of the legal duties of care. Duties of care is take reasonable care, not cause perceivable harm to others. So that's which we can look around these in different scenario of commercial world. So there are a number of case laws which we can look around. Uh, like this is back in 1932. We have some late, recent case laws which we can curve that view where we can pick the case laws of course sports, carry on publishing. So we can include this is one of the friend brought her bottle of ginger beer with it. So can so we can yes, please. So we can look around the duties of whoever the duty of care. So prevent injury. So we can look around these in the scenario. So the contract and publication. So then if you want to please work toward the merit criteria where we can include some case laws. So we can look around the duties of care, agent or agency theory, validity of given contracts. So that's can. So these are all the court case, the claimant wrote, and then of course, how much was the mistake, defendant allowed the house to put up and sold. The claimant sued the defendant. So sometimes we are agree you will buy this and the contract even is verbal. Then you change your mind, so you have to because the offer and acceptance happen. So that's we need to be look around. Yes, sometimes the postal rule as we discussed earlier, when the date of postal is actually the date of payment. That can be maybe you post letters to someone said no, I'm not going to sell this now, so the date of postal is date of your, but maybe actually the letter being received after that date. So these type of issues can be in various settings. So we can look around. Yes, so you will see these case laws, the letters properly being stamped, addressed, and posted. That's the postal rule and the communication and the contract and the offer and acceptance and damages. So these are the key rules we have to look around. Let's if you're advertising something, it's called invitation to treat. It's not a contract until offer and acceptance will happen. So that can be these type of issues can be in a commercial world. So evaluate the implications of the agency relationship for the principal agent. So we have to be clearly the agent and the agency and the principal and the relationship working in the best interest of the shareholders, stakeholders, and the fiduciary relationship between these, that's we need to be, and everything need to be written. It's better to be written, so really in the contract. So if the agency relationship is the issue, who is responsible for it? So of course the director or the agent of the shareholder, they have to work, the cost and the benefit. And of course the risk, need to be ultimately the shareholder will lose, the loss. So AGM, annual general meeting, every public limited company once a year we have an annual general meeting. Of course, they have a right to uh, select and vote, the voting rights of the shareholders on it. So we can look around the corporate governance rules. We can OECD, which is called Organization Economic Cooperation Development, their code of ethics, the ACCA, or the code of ethics, which is set by International Ethical Standard Board. So these are we can follow, and then we include a little bit, here is the quiz which you can do in your time and to look around um, your own understanding. Okay, so quite good. If you want to please look around, quickly show you few resources for extra if you want. And we have a couple of books, available on Moodle page as well. So please, if you type their contract, the word Kaplan. So you will see here it's called KF Knowledge Bank of Kaplan. So these are the Kaplan resource bank, quite good to use. Yes, about the contract. Yes, so a lot of case study, case laws. What we can do, right click it. We can take images. We can underneath. We can explain in this here finding of the, all the case laws always given. So in your assignment, good to be, we can pick, for special detention and the merit criteria, which will go through when the assignment discussion. We can pick a few examples from this. Other than that, please, we had a discussion earlier with you on units as well. So if you please go and set up account free on Open Vision. So if you look under ACCA, please, and we have LW, which is law, corporate and business law. So that's quite good. So what we'll do, I will download this booklet for you as well, the latest booklet. And other than that, I'll give you Kaplan and BPP books as well on the contract law. So these resources are available already on Moodle as well. I'll share with you on WhatsApp group. So if we can look around the contract law and the case law all within that. So this booklet, of course, we are using English law. Of course, there are a couple of other laws because ACCA is separate, and the exam is happening, so they can follow the local laws. Okay, so here, please, of course, we're not doing exam, so we can look around contract, public law, yes, and we have a contract offer and acceptance and all the things. So we have court systems, but we can pick some scenarios from, and we can when we'll do assignments, so we can embed those in our assignment. Okay, so please, and other than that, we'll share with you the chapter and the books as well, contract law book itself, that also help us to be further enhance understanding. But normally you're well aware of offer acceptance and the 7 elements generated, agency theory, agent principle, and the relationship between them. Mentioned earlier. So that's all. Anybody, any question, please? Any point you think we need to?
So
So
you're
that's
going to
all.
share that, sorry, you're going to share that link through the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I'm going to send the booklet whole 2-3 books, on the contract law and law for.
Perfect.
So that's, we can pick the terminologies if we have never heard or never. So we can read it and we can write in our assignment as well. The case laws we can pick from either from the book or the website, which I mentioned you, Kaplan, and I'll share with you the link as well.
Thank you.
Yes, in terms of the assignment starting, you can start earlier, but we'll do the assignment discussion session. Sample assignment is available. I can quickly show you on our Moodle page as well. So at least we are what we have on our Moodle page and what we can. So please, if you don't have access, let us know. Let admin know, so we can set up account. If not being set up properly, sometime can happen. Okay, so here is please. So we have all the command verb, the reference, the unit specification, which we just assignment brief, sample assignment, and then please we have here all the study material. So further I will upload, and I'll share with you the Kaplan. Here is the contract law book, which is quite good. Yes, so a lot of slides being picked from the resources we are using from. And we have, these are the different case laws and extra resources. So you will see there 1M, if we look in the merit criteria. So of course we'll go through all these following lessons, and these are the case laws. So those things we can use these. So of course we'll go through Bribery Act and all of this. And normally these different legislation which we'll go through in the following lesson. Yes, these are all the resources are useful. And other than that, I'm going to share with you this open tuition one, and I'm going to share with you the link of Kaplan, and I'm going to share with you the booklet of Kaplan. Just 1 second, I can quickly show you these first. So what you can type, so how we can use them effectively. I'll share with you the cards, Kaplan's card, well, all the key terminologies will come. I'm just sharing your own. Okay, so these are useful resource. So I'll share with you this booklet. So please, if so, there are plenty of examples about court systems, laws, and contract law. So it's good to, that's normally we use for ACC as well, but it's good to embed the resources, and those I will share. Okay, so normally in terms of assignment, we will do 4 sessions, and after 4 sessions, the 5th one will be about assignment discussion, and then after assignment discussion, normally we expect people within 2 weeks you can submit your assignment if you can, but if your work commitment you can't, so it's fine. So we can be flexible, but better to be within 2 weeks. So we standardize within 2 weeks after the last lesson or assignment discussion. So if you want to submit before, of course, we can mark and sign off, because it's a signing off each unit, and then we can say, oh yes, you achieved. We can send to awarding body, and then of course can be a sign off. A sign off, these are the and met the criteria. Okay, so that's I'm going to share with you on the WhatsApp group. Yes. So please please, you can download from there, and then these will be available. Anybody else, please? Any questions you have, please? Okay, thanks for attending today's session, and I will speak to you next lesson, which will go through LO2. It's good to be before LO2 if you can, the indicative content there. So the key terms you can look within the book are just a generic. There is a good website, which I mentioned, Kaplan. Second, we carry on using for A-level laws and accounting, because the law is, we're not going in very deep, but we're looking in accounting perspective, how we can, and why we need to know really the matter of. Yes, Faisal, I can show you the assignment. Here is the sample assignment, so please you can follow the meter. We'll do assignment discussion our last lesson, so you can follow. Here is the sample assignment brief. We'll go through in detail after, of course, first we need to go through all LOs, and then these LOs will be assessed within our assignment brief. So like today, our lesson was divided 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So that's our passing criteria. So if you're discussing these points in actually your assignment, so it's absolutely fine, then it meets the criteria. So all these resources available in assignment discussion, and of course we'll do our assignment discussion. So previous all resources available. So Faisal, you can go through assignment brief, look the sample assignment, and if we any particular question, we can go through one-to-one. Okay, so anyone else, please, if you have any question, you can ask. No? Okay, so I'm going to share with you on the WhatsApp group this booklet and the resources. Okay, so today we'll keep up to here. If you have any questions, so look the contract, element of contract, agent and agency theory, and we discuss about the damages. So that's all which we'll go through. Then we will relate to what sort of damages can be. Like, if we had a discussion in other subject, VAT and all of this, that's a penalty from, but the contract between offer and acceptance between clients, those are. So damages can be, of course, court can decide between mutual parties can decide how much they bear the loss, and then of course that can be settled. Okay, so that's all from my end, and hope I will speak you all during our next lesson, which will be same time next week, and have a lovely week. A bit left here. Oh no, we have lesson next. Sorry, we have lesson tomorrow as well. Just 1 second. Yes. No, we don't have lesson tomorrow. We have lesson next week. So we'll go through next week, law for accounting, and I'll speak to you next week. Have a lovely weekend.
And you have a lovely weekend.
You, bye-bye.
Bye.